I mean, I don't know, they have issues they cannot control.
Hello and welcome back to my channel. Here we are with Joanna, my guest.
Hello.
We met in a Facebook group. How long ago was it?
I think it was 2 years ago. Yeah, 2 years ago.
So we both live in Finland. There's not many MBTI interested people, I would say, in Finland.
Yeah.
So it was really cool that we started talking in Facebook. We met in this group. And I asked Joanna out because I was super interested to meet someone who is also interested in MBTI.
Yeah, that's right.
So how certain are you about your own type?
I'm pretty sure, but I'm very interested in hearing someone else's opinion because no one has ever typed me. But if you would say on something else, then that would be like a big thing for me, like, whoa.
So here we are, typing Joanna. This is going to be interesting. Of course, I will do my best to be as objective as possible. And I have a certain bias, of course, with what I've seen so far. But I think now we do this typing based on this session and try to leave everything else outside. So how do you feel right now?
A bit like excited. Yeah, just excited about the result, and probably when I see this video it's gonna be very cringe. So, I'm a bit camera shy, but I think it's going well.
Yeah, that's great. You're immediately thinking about afterwards how cringe this video is. That's a great approach.
Yes, but it's alright. Sometimes you have to be cringe in life.
Quote by Joanna.
Yeah.
Okay, well, tell us something about yourself. Like, tell about your childhood background.
So I was born in Finland and my mother is from Honduras. So basically we did live in Finland, then we moved to Honduras. When I was a kid we did go a bit more often and then we would stay here in Finland. But then we lived there for 1 year. I started actually school in there because my mom married an Italian man. So then we moved to Italy. And we were there for 1 year and then we came back. Yeah, so a lot of moving. Then we went to Turku and basically grew up there, and then because of the job then I moved to Helsinki. Because in Turku it was almost impossible to get a job when I studied mostly graphic design, but it's like a media service provider, so we had a little bit of photography and animations, web design.
Is that your dream job?
Yeah, well, I actually, when we were teenagers and we have to choose the career, I remember we made a test and on the top it was art director, and there was I remember also psychology that interested me, but I knew that I didn't want to be a psychologist because it would be maybe tough to be supporting other people all the time with their difficult emotions. But I knew I wanted to do something creative, and graphic design was something I wanted to do. But then the guiding teacher, she was like, yeah, I don't recommend that for you, you will never get a job. so
what?
Yeah, I think she even said then you would have to move out of Turku. And of course when you're young and you're not used to even living alone, you still live with your parents, that maybe sounds a bit scary. So I think that was maybe a bit bad
advice.
Yeah, but I thought, okay, she is older, maybe she knows better. So then I tried a lot of different things until as an adult, I think I was 26. And then I decided, okay, no, because I was working on customer service and it was really tough for me. So then I decided, no, it really matters what you do for work, because we spend so much time in there. You can't just live your life in your free time and ignore your job, unfortunately. So I went to adult school. It lasted 2 years. Then I tried looking for a job in Turku. I tried for 2 years and nothing. So I moved here to Helsinki and 2 months and I got something.
There's few questions that already came to my mind, but I'm thinking of the graphic designing. Is that a really creative job?
It depends, because sometimes maybe you get projects you have free hands, this is the logo of the company, we need a brochure, and take inspiration from the logo or make something interesting. Then you can maybe think about how I'm going to do that. Or maybe sometimes I've been asked do an animation, and then you have to think okay, what will I animate, like an icon or a text, and how. But of course sometimes maybe some companies have many rules, and it depends also where you work, because I work in a small company now, so sometimes the projects are not very interesting. Sometimes they can be, but a lot of times no. I rather do that than be on the phone with the customers.
Why? What's wrong with being on the phone with the customers?
Well, when I worked in customer service, it was like doing the same thing all the time, so it got very tiring for me, and also customers can be very difficult, so you have to really have a thick skin. You deal with difficult customers, and then you deal with the difficult management.
What do you think are the main reasons why it was tough for you, the customer? Is it the difficult customers that come in? Or is it more like the repetition, like
Both.
you said? Okay,
Both.
so it's like
Both.
just overall.
Yeah.
Do you like to be with people then?
Well, I mean, the customer service is different because you have to serve them and give them a good experience, and sometimes they are, I mean, I had some pretty crazy customers, I can say.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, that's not nice. In general, yeah, sometimes with people I like to be, sometimes alone. It really depends also on the people, like if they're nice, of course.
Okay, so there was really difficult customers. Do you have like almost like a traumatic experience with some of the customers? Or
Yeah, I could say, yeah, like people actually like yelling you and all the curse words and saying like, I know a lawyer, and like some people are really crazy. So I mean, I don't know, they have issues they cannot control.
how did you manage this situation? Like, what is your coping mechanism with this situation?
Well, I guess I was like very shocked. I just had to learn not to take it personally, like just have a tough skin and survive and deal with the day and do your best.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like the right job for you if you describe it as surviving.
I think in a way maybe it has made me even stronger. Maybe it sounds weird, but I've been like the person, like if you yell to me, then I can like easily cry. So now that I have like experienced that, then maybe I can control it more. Like I guess I can like detach maybe more and just realize that okay, like some people just, well, I hate to say it, are stupid or have issues with themselves, that maybe it's not anything like personal about me.
I think this has been really interesting, and I think already I can say few things that I just have to say them now about this, but I do think everything you've told me just really highlights that your focus in life and in yourself is really interest based. You're interested in things that you're interested in.
Oh, okay.
You can, by the way, disagree with me completely.
Well, I don't know, makes sense. Like, isn't everybody interested in?
Yeah, isn't everyone interested in things? Well, the opposite of interest is systematic, which means that systematic people want things to fit into their understanding of a system. That can be societal, cultural, it can be anything. MBTI, for example, it can be different systems. Like I'm interested in MBTI as a system. Everything I see, I try to think how it fits to this framework. I know this sounds really like abstract, but let's just move on from here. I'll come up with new examples when I hear, because I'm pretty sure you're interested. But one thing I have to also say is the obvious introverted feeling and extrovert thinking axis all the time there, which is that everything you say has some personal attachment to you. And then of course the extrovert thinking, which is that what other people think. I feel like this is cringe, but I don't know what you guys think, or I don't know if you guys think this is stupid, but this is how I feel. It's constantly that like dichotomy.
Yeah, that's interesting how you see that extrovert thinking also. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can clearly see that introvert feeling. Yeah.
Yeah, but let's continue, and I'll not make any conclusions yet. So, do you have any hobbies?
I like photography. Well, now I haven't done it in a while. The winter doesn't motivate me much to go out.
There's interest.
That's interesting. Yeah, so that's one. Other is I like to draw, mostly digitally. I think that's easier than, well, I have experimented like painting on a canvas, but I think maybe because of the graphic design, it's more easier doing it on a computer. And then also, well, I try to go to the gym. I go to Zumba class once a week. It's fun, and I think going to the gym is maybe difficult for me to get in my routine, but I think I got well with the Zumba because it's fun. But I'm also interested in painting, but I should maybe practice that a little bit more.
What's the actual motivation to start it?
Yeah, I have difficulty on starting, and also maybe like my space, I have a very small table, and then I guess that maybe discourages me a little bit, because then I have all my paintings, they take a lot of space, and then my kitties, they jump on the table and
yeah, right. So you have cats also.
Yeah.
How about that? Tell me about the journey. How did you find the life of being with cats?
Yeah. Well, my first cat, he just came to our family because my little sister convinced my mom that we should get a cat. Well, long story short, one of our neighbors brought another cat. They didn't get along with our family cat, so when I moved out, he came to live with me. Unfortunately, he passed. I was alone for a few months. Then I just realized, okay, I need to have cat company. Having that love and company that they give you gives you like purpose also in your life. Not just pet connection, but like having, you know, connections in life. Because otherwise then it felt kind of like, okay, what am I even doing with my life?
That's amazing if you can feel that you can get that connection like, with a pet.
Yeah,
it brings meaning in your life.
I always know like relationships, they give meaning to life, but then that was like a big moment when I realized that, okay, it's connections that really give meaning to our life. Like you can have a meaningful job, maybe, or not, but in the end of the day, it's the connections that matter the most, even if you're like introverted or extroverted. Like we're social creatures.
Yeah, actually, there's a lot of research about happiness, and actually my previous video, it was just about happiness. Yeah, like social connections, they are on top of the list. Even if you want to disagree with that, you can't, because it's a scientific fact.
Yeah.
Also, the longevity in certain areas, people live longer than others, and even though the diets might differ, there are some common themes or factors, like for example the social communities that they have. So which one impacts longer on your health? Social relationships or diets or physical activities?
Yeah.
Well, they all impact, but actually the social connections are surprisingly big part of it. Okay, so here was an example of systematic and interest.
Yeah, true.
A real life example.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you how what you told me fits into my worldview and my like idea of happiness and social connections.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's really interesting. So the connections, do you think you're really people focused? Like, do you think people are really important to you?
I think it's important to have connections in your life. I don't think it matters like how many you have, if they're like good quality. Also, family is important to me.
Do you meet a lot with your family and friends? How many times in a week?
When I lived in Turku with my best friend, we would meet once a week. I didn't have like a regular schedule with family, but of course I would meet maybe more often because I lived close. It changes, it depends, like if there are some birthdays or some free holidays, then of course I will go, and sometimes I might go randomly, but it's sometimes maybe a bit difficult to find the time to.
Do you think you need to
meet people? I think I need to meet people at some times. Yeah, I like to spend time alone, but I think, yeah, as I said, like we're social creatures, of course. We need to engage with other people, spend time, have conversation, maybe do something.
Okay, that's interesting. Once in a week, you were living in the same city with your best friend?
Yeah.
Okay, that's not super often then.
It's like she had her job and I had my job, and sometimes I would meet also other friends, not just her. So.
Yeah. How do you manage conflicts? Like among relationships?
It depends. If it's on the job, then I will probably avoid, of course. Yeah. If it's with a friend, then it depends like how serious the conflict is. If it's something that maybe bothers me a little bit but not much, maybe I won't even say anything. I will just think about it in my own head and just move on. But I haven't really had like those kind of situations where I have like a big conflict with a friend. Difficult to say. I'm not like very confronting unless it's like absolutely necessary.
Do you speak like directly to people? Like, will you say, I don't like that, what you said, if you didn't like what someone said?
I wouldn't say it like that directly. Maybe I would say, like, if you say something I don't like, then maybe I would say like why, or like maybe say what I think about it. But I wouldn't be like, unless it's something very, very, I don't know, extreme. But rarely people say really bad stuff that are that extreme.
Sounds like you are really harmonious. Since I know you're an introverted feeling user, if someone says something that's completely against your moral view, how do you deal with that?
Well, one example could be like if someone says something really like racist or something like that. Well, at the job, I have actually heard some kind of comments, and I stay away from that situation because, well, especially in the work environment, I don't want to have conflicts. Well, in the past, maybe I have either like taken some distance from that person. Maybe I would just try to maybe defend the other part who's being maybe like attacked, like
I mean, it sounds like you avoid mostly, like
mostly, yeah.
Like, because you said like or maybe you would try to defend. Okay, that's really clear. That gives me the idea that you're really cooperative, which means that you prioritize harmony and people and connections, even though you're interest focused. But the question is, are you pushing your interests to the community, or do you let the community push your interests like around, like which one comes first? And to me, it sounds like you would prioritize the harmony and the community. Of course, I understand in the work environment, we will all avoid conflict in the work environment.
Yeah.
But if you have never had an occasion where you would push your moral opinions or say, I don't think what you're doing is right, and you're still an introvert feeling user, then it really means you're really cooperative.
And actually, when I think about it, it depends on the situation. Maybe I might discuss it with other people.
Aha, yeah, that always works.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you're really open-minded with your like morals?
I guess in some case I'm open-minded, or maybe like I can accept that maybe some people might think differently. Maybe I don't accept the thing they are doing or the way they are thinking, but let's say it's a friend, so it doesn't really affect me. Then maybe if it was like a partner, then maybe it's a bit more serious.
True. Yeah, what would you do if your partner says something immoral, in your opinion?
Yeah, that would be maybe a bit difficult. I guess I would just say my point of view of the thing, maybe make him realize like what he just said is wrong.
How are you gonna do that?
I guess it would go in the feeling way, like how it makes other people feel, or how would you feel in that situation. If it depends really on the unmoral thing, what they're maybe like talking about the feelings and the experiences of the people. I would maybe go that way.
Yeah, okay. That's really clear. So sounds like you're a higher introverted feeling user than extrovert thinking user. Because now, in this kind of situation where your partner says something immoral, you are prioritizing the feelings and the motivations. Again, interest-based, right? You're not prioritizing trying to rationalize it. You know, like, hey, let's talk about this rationally now. Let's be objective about this and discuss if this makes sense.
Yeah.
And how it fits to the big picture. That's how I would go about it.
That's how you would go. Yeah.
High feeling.
High feeling.
High feeling. And interest-based. Okay, yeah, cooperative, I think, definitely. Okay, so we have now Joanna is interest, Joanna is cooperative. So we are left with ENFP, INFP, ENFJ, INFJ. So we know the quadra of yours, which completely makes sense because NF quadra's core needs are identity and meaning. So everything we have heard so far is basically about the meaning of relationships, the meaningful things in life that bring meaning, and then identity. Like, it has to be important to you. But the difference between an NFJ and an NFP is that NFPs are introverted feeling and extrovert thinking users, and NFJs are extroverted feeling and introvert thinking users. I am obviously much more sided on with the introverted feeling, but let's continue and figure out. How organized are you? How structural are you?
I would say I'm okay. I'm maybe not the best. I'm not the worst. Well, I try to keep my home organized. Of course, sometimes finding the motivation to wash the dishes is is difficult. But actually, my cats help me with that because
That's great.
that's
They
great.
support you.
Actually, because if I leave the dishes there, they will go and try to eat the leftovers. And I don't want them to do that, of course, because maybe my food is not good for them. Like I can use onions and stuff.
Is it hard for you to do this kind of daily routines?
Yes and no. Like maybe the dishwashing, that's difficult for me. But like getting up in a certain hour, that's something I have managed quite well. Yeah, because when I was younger, then if I have a free day, then maybe I would sleep and wake up very late. But now I have this routine that I wake up at 9 a.m. Of course, if I have work, then earlier, but otherwise it's always 9 a.m. Yeah, but the routines, as I said, the Zumba, and I'm trying now to get something else also as my routine. It's either Pilates or strength, but that's something I maybe do a bit more randomly.
Also, the difference between NFJ and NFP is that NFJs have a directing way of interacting and NFPs have an informing way of interacting.
Yeah.
And I think, like, of course, NFJs, because they're extroverted feeling users, they can come across really informing at sometimes. But also, they can be extremely direct when needed. But I think when I'm listening to Joanna speaking, it's more like circles. You're going on a chronological order, usually. You have a pretty good sense of memory, sounds like, because you were talking about your past and it goes like this. But still, I think it's so broad. I do get a really informing vibe.
Yeah.
But of course I could be wrong. NFJs and NFPs also have completely different set of cognitive functions. So there's a huge difference there. And few times I think you have talked about the possibilities, like your extrovert intuition is not super high though, it's not super strong. Like you don't tell me all the time these new like ideas or something. Okay, so I'm getting definitely like NFP vibes more. Do you think you're really imaginative?
Yeah, of course I am. I think I even told you once that it sounds maybe very weird, but I...
Extrovert thinking.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe, not necessarily. Okay, but yeah.
Yeah, but
Could be,
maybe
could be
some
also.
people could see it as a weird thing. But to me, it's very normal, and like I unconsciously maybe even like imagine fake scenarios when I'm having conversations with people. And I have actually analyzed it, like why do I do that? Okay, maybe sometimes it would be good to have in the real life those conversations, but it's not always like that. Sometimes it's just me processing my thoughts and feelings. Yeah, so I do that, and of course sometimes maybe if I'm a bit bored or something, then I get lost in these fake scenarios and just think about funny stuff. Like what funny thing could happen if I'm with someone.
That is so funny. Do you have examples?
Well, it's not funny if I say it. You have to be in it.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know like how other people then do it, like when you think about your feelings with someone or your thoughts with someone. But if you don't do it that way, then I don't know how other people function.
I don't think I've ever had an imaginary discussion with someone.
I realize I do it quite often.
Okay, that's super
I would say
interesting.
like every day.
Okay, that sounds like extrovert intuition user.
Okay, so now it came out.
Do you like laugh at them, at yourself?
Yeah, but sometimes it's tricky when you're in the bus and I don't want to laugh, you know.
That is the most amazing skill I think ever existed.
Great.
You think you're an NFP personality type. Of course, NFJs could also probably potentially have imaginary discussions, but this often, and also you describe them as funny, which would, I think, require a really imaginative, more extroverted sense of intuition than introverted sense of intuition. Yeah, all NFPs, comment below. Are you relating to this?
Are you having imaginary conversations?
Do you think your scenarios are more optimistic or pessimistic?
Both. It's difficult to say which one maybe more positive. Yeah, but of course both.
Are you afraid of risks?
Yeah, of course. I know that you have to take risk in life, and also sometimes if you live too afraid, then are you living really? Then you might regret it later. But yeah, of course I'm afraid. I'm maybe more afraid of like physical risk, like getting in a scooter or something and falling.
Scooter.
Yeah.
The most dangerous physical activity.
Yeah. Maybe I should try it someday. Yeah. Yeah, but of course then there's other risks, like for example moving to Helsinki. Well, I still don't have exactly the job I wanted, but I have something that's useful to getting there, and maybe I get to do graphic design also, among other things. But when I came here, of course, I didn't know if I will get the job. But yeah, sometimes you just have to take risk.
Do you take a lot of risks?
I would say I played more safe, but maybe I should take more risk in life.
Are you concerned about what other people think?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I am.
How does that manifest?
I think maybe that manifests in the workplace. Not that I really care what they think about me, but maybe like if they think badly of me, like what are the consequences?
Can you give an example of that?
Well, I remember like in the beginning, well, we had like a Christmas party. Well, they always have it every year. I wasn't really interested in going, but the first year I went because I didn't want people to think that, oh, she is not part of the team.
Are you careful in social gatherings or events like that?
It depends what kind. If you have nice people, like we talked before, like you have to hang out with the nice people.
Yes, people.
Yeah. Now also, I really. I'm talking about my job a lot. Hopefully they won't watch this video, I don't think.
Yeah.
But like maybe like there's a higher management, someone I don't like because of I think they are not a moral person. So I just think I don't want to hang around on my free time around that person. You know, my free time is more valuable. Yeah.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
well said. So you really respect your alone time and your time.
In time in general, I think like life, it can be long, it can be short. You don't ever know when it's going to end. I mean, I don't want to get dark here, but you just have to try to be the happiest and live the best life you can.
I do think some people still prioritize being with people, even if they don't like necessarily those people that much. Like some people just want to be with people, like they want stimulation. I think it's more like an extroverted thing.
Yeah.
But sounds like you really respect your own free time. Okay, I think we got your type.
Oh.
I think we know that you're an NFP personality type.
Yeah.
But I was thinking between now ENFP and INFP because you are more informing. We know that you are definitely interest focused, definitely cooperative, which means you're an NF personality type. But the question is, are you an INFP or an ENFP? And I think what I wanted to figure out is not are you extroverted or introverted, because that's always a bit tricky. A lot of ENFPs can come across also introverted. What I wanted to find out is, are you more externally focused or internally focused? You really respect alone time, you really respect your own space, you have a sense of space. Sounds like an introverted approach and responding approach. So I think you're introverted. Also, what I think is worth of mentioning is your functions. You are more aware of the consequences and the negative thinking of other people. So your extroverted functions are negatively focused, which means that you are extremely aware of the negative external possibility, the negative external thinking, and you're more optimistic about your own internal life, which is like your own feelings, your own identity. Your introvert feeling is optimistic because you're not questioning it. You haven't said, I'm not sure if I should even focus on what I feel. In some sense, you're more like, I feel like this, and this is how I feel. So it's really optimistic. Also, your introverted sensing sounds optimistic because you do prioritize your own comfort space, like the physical experience you're having. It's more like an optimistic approach to your own physical reality, also with the routines. So yeah, I think Joanna is an INFP.
Oh, yeah.
We kind of hoped we would come to a different conclusion here, like maybe it would have been something surprising.
Yeah. Well, I type myself as an INFP also, and I've been pretty sure about it.
Yeah, it's pretty
It would
obvious.
have been like a big thing, like, oh wow,
Yeah,
I don't
an
know who I
ISTP
am.
or something. Comment below what do you think about this video. Did you think it was interesting? And thank you for watching.
Thank you. Bye.